The Whale is a 2022 American psychological drama film directed by Darren Aronofsky and written by Samuel D. Hunter, based on his 2012 play of the same name. The film stars Brendan Fraser, Sadie Sink, Chau, Simpkins, and Samantha Morton. The plot follows a reclusive, gay English teacher with morbid obesity who tries to restore his relationship with his teenage daughter. The Whale premiered at the 79th Venice International Film Festival on September 4, 2022. And had a limited theatrical release in the United States on December 9, before a wide release on December 21 by A24. The film polarized critics, though the cast's performances, particularly those of Fraser and Chau, received praise. It has grossed $36 million against a budget of $3 million. For his performance, Fraser won Best Actor at the Academy Awards, Critics' Choice Awards, and Screen Actors Guild Awards, and was nominated at the Golden Globe Awards and British Academy Film Awards. The film also won the Academy Award for Best Makeup and Hairstyling, and received a Best Supporting Actress nomination for Chau, as well as a nomination for the Producers Guild of America Award for Best Theatrical Motion Picture. Plot: Charlie, a morbidly obese and reclusive English instructor, teaches online college writing courses but keeps his webcam off, ashamed of his physical appearance. His nurse and only friend Liz urges him to visit a hospital for severe risk of congestive heart failure. Charlie is worried that he would never be able to pay off the resulting debt. He is also visited by Thomas, a missionary for the New Life Church who wants Charlie to be saved. Charlie frequently orders pizza, following an unchanging routine with delivery driver Dan, who drops off the pizza and collects payment from the mailbox without the two ever interacting aside from a few shouted pleasantries through the door. Charlie hopes to reconnect with his estranged teenage daughter Ellie, whom he has not seen in 8 years. Charlie offers her the $120,000 in his bank account if she spends time with him without her mother's knowledge. Ellie relents when he agrees to help rewrite a school essay, though he says she must also write in a notebook he gives her. Liz is disgruntled by Thomas's frequent visits and tells him that Charlie does not need saving. She reveals that she is the adopted daughter of New Life's head pastor and that Alan, Charlie's deceased boyfriend whose death from suicide due to religious guilt caused Charlie to start uncontrollably binge eating, was her brother. Despite Liz's objections, Thomas still believes his mission is to help Charlie. After he chokes on a meatball sandwich, Charlie's health begins to decline. Liz brings him a wheelchair to make it easier for him to move around his apartment. One day, Ellie secretly slips crushed Ambien into a sandwich she makes for Charlie. After he falls asleep, Thomas arrives and Ellie begins to question him while the two smoke marijuana. Thomas admits he stole his youth group's money and ran away from his family and church because he felt unfulfilled. Ellie secretly records his confession on her phone. The truth about Ellie's secret meetings with her father is revealed when Liz brings Mary, Charlie's ex-wife and Ellie's mother, to visit. A heated exchange occurs in which Charlie reveals the amount in his bank account that he planned to leave Ellie, causing Liz to storm out over being lied to. Alone, Mary and Charlie argue about the breakdown of their marriage and their failures as parents. As Mary leaves, Charlie tearfully admits that he is hoping Ellie will be the confirmation he needs that he did one thing right with his life. After Dan glimpses him for the first time and reacts with disgust, Charlie experiences a severe binge-eating episode during which he sends a profanity-laden email to his students, telling them to disregard the classwork and just write back something honest. Thomas visits Charlie one last time to inform him that he is moving back home after Ellie sent his confession to his former youth group and family, who have forgiven him and are welcoming him home. He attempts to preach to Charlie, who chastises him when he blames Alan's homosexuality for his death. Charlie reveals during his next class that he is being replaced due to complaints and reads some of the students' submissions. To reciprocate their honesty, he switches on his webcam for the first time, and the students react with shock. Feeling guilty for abandoning him, Liz comforts Charlie as he nears death. Ellie suddenly visits to confront him over his rewritten essay. He reveals that he replaced her rewritten essay with a critical essay of Moby Dick that she wrote in 8th grade as he considered it the most honest essay he has ever read. Ellie tearfully rebukes Charlie as he attempts to reconcile one final time. Ellie reluctantly reads the essay as Charlie stands up and attempts to walk toward her without assistance, which he had tried but failed to do during Ellie's first visit. As Ellie finishes reading, Charlie begins to float as he becomes engulfed in a bright white light. The final shot is a happy memory of them as a family on a visit to the Oregon coast, implying it is the last memory he sees before he finally dies. Cast: Brendan Fraser as Charlie, a morbidly obese and reclusive English instructor. Sadie Sink as Ellie, Charlie's estranged daughter. J.C. Sink as young Ellie. Simpkins as Thomas, a Christian missionary. Chau as Liz, a nurse who is Charlie's only friend. Samantha Morton as Mary, Charlie's ex-wife and Ellie's mother. Satya Sridharan as Dan, a pizza delivery man. Production, writing and casting. Aronofsky has said that he tried to get the film made for over a decade, but could not do it because he struggled to find the right actor to portray Charlie. After seeing portions of Fraser's performance in a trailer for Journey to the End of the Night, 2006, he decided that Fraser could be a good choice. The original play was set in 2009, but the setting was updated to 2016 because Hunter wanted to show the events as being before a major seismic change, and since doing so would make it clear that the play's events were prior to the COVID-19 pandemic. In the original play, Thomas, an evangelical Christian missionary, is instead a Mormon missionary. The Liz character, in the original play and in the screenplay, did not have her ethnic background or race specified. The actress chosen to portray Liz, Chau, is of Asian heritage. The final screenplay specifies that Liz was adopted as a way of accommodating Chau's casting. This was not in the initial revisions of the screenplay. Chau argued that Liz should have an unkempt look and should be tattooed, aspects that were incorporated into the character. On January 11, 2021, it was announced that A24 had obtained global distribution rights to The Whale, directed by Aronofsky and starring Fraser. Hong Chau, Sadie Sink, and Samantha Morton joined the cast in February, followed by Simpkins in March. Satya Sridharan joined the cast at an unknown date. At one point, the film was set to star James Corden with Tom Ford directing, but Ford left due to creative differences. George Clooney also briefly considered directing the film, but ultimately declined. Filming. Principal photography ran from March 8 to April 7, 2021, in Newburgh, New York. Post-production began later in April. For the role, Fraser spent 4 hours each day being fitted with prosthetics that weighed up to 300 pounds, 136 kilograms. He also consulted with the Obesity Action Coalition and worked with a dance instructor for months before filming began in order to determine how his character would move with the excess weight. Hunter stated that it is up to the viewer to interpret whether Charlie actually walks in the ending scene, and Fraser argued that Charlie is finally liberated. Sink stated that her character is emotionally traumatized and that Charlie is able to look through a facade that Ellie puts up as a barrier between herself and her father. Release. The cast, director, and writer holding a press conference during the 2022 Venice Film Festival. The Whale had its world premiere at the 79th Venice International Film Festival on September 4, 2022, where it received a 6-minute standing ovation. It made its North American premiere at the 2022 Toronto International Film Festival on September 11, 2022. It had a limited theatrical release in the United States on December 9, 2022, then expanded to wide release on December 21. The film was released for VOD platforms on February 21, 2023, with a Blu-ray and DVD release set for March 14, 2023. Reception. Box office. As of March 12, 2023, The Whale has grossed $17 million in the United States and Canada, and $19.6 million in other territories, for a worldwide total of $36.6 million. The film grossed $1 million in its third weekend, expanding from 6 theaters to 603, and $1.6 million over the 4-day Christmas frame, then $1.4 million in its fourth weekend. It then expanded to 1,500 venues on the 6th week of its theatrical run and grossed $11 million domestically. These results were attributed to the praise and awards buzz for Fraser's performance. Critical response. Brendan Fraser and Hong Chau received universal acclaim by critics for their performances. Both were nominated for Academy Awards, with Fraser winning. Review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes reported an approval rating of 65% based on 322 reviews, with an average rating of 6.6. The site's critics' consensus reads, held together by a killer Brendan Fraser, The Whale sings a song of empathy that will leave most viewers blubbering. Metacritic, which uses a weighted average, assigned the film a score of 60 out of 100, based on 56 critics, indicating mixed or average reviews. The Whale received positive feedback at the Toronto International Film Festival, with particular praise for Fraser's, Chau's and Sink's performances. When the film had a limited theatrical release, Variety reported that the reviews have been polarizing, with others criticizing the film's portrayal of fat people. Glenn Kenny of RogerEbert.com praised Aronofsky's direction and Fraser's performance, writing that the story is one of different levels of heartbreak and human misunderstanding, and Aronofsky and Fraser have taken substantive risks, in the name of an insistent empathy. Robbie Collin of The Telegraph gave it a perfect 5 stars, writing, Fraser seals his comeback in a sensational film of rare compassion. Richard Roeper of the Chicago Sun-Times described the film as empathetic, haunting, beautiful, heartbreakingly moving story of a broken man. He named it Best Film of the Year and deemed Fraser's performance as his career's best. Variety chief film critic Owen Gleiberman also praised Fraser, calling him slyer, subtler, more haunting than he has ever been. Richard Lawson of Vanity Fair wrote that the film meant to be a poignant consideration of guilt, sexuality, religion, remorse, but we really only know that because the movie shouts it at us. He also criticized Fraser's performance as lost. Mark Hansen of Slant magazine felt that Aronofsky reigns in his typically ostentatious style. Katie Reif of Polygon wrote, "If you look at The Whale as a fable, its moral is that it's the responsibility of the abused to love and forgive their abusers. The movie thinks it's saying you don't understand, he's fat because he's suffering. But it ends up saying you don't understand, we have to be cruel to fat people because we are suffering." Controversy. The film has received criticism for its portrayal of the main character. Time magazine explained the controversy, stating, "Some of the film's critics believe it perpetuates tired tropes of fat people as suffering, chronically depressed and binge-eating." On the podcast Don't Let This Flop, Edge Dixon said the film was met with criticism for its use of a prosthetic suit instead of casting an obese actor, with accusations that it stigmatizes and mocks fat people. On NPR's Culture section, Jacqueline Diaz reported that this criticism extends to detractors calling the film's premise inherently dehumanizing. Writing for the New York Times, Roxanne Gay expressed her opinion that the film's empathy was only superficial and that the depiction of Charlie reinforced anti-fat stereotypes and preconceptions. She wrote that although Aronofsky said he wanted to give an empathetic portrayal, she was bewildered because an empathetic portrayal isn't at all what was conveyed on screen. As I looked around the audience, I was struck by the fact that there were only 4 or so fat people in the audience and none on the stage. Director Darren Aronofsky responded to the controversy by defending the film, saying the criticisms make no sense. Aronofsky said that actors have been using makeup since the beginning of acting, that's one of their tools. And the lengths we went to portray the realism of the makeup has never been done before. He said of fat people that they get judged everywhere they go on the planet, by most people. This film shows that, like everyone, we are all human. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe.